Imagine you're out to dinner, and at the end of the meal, the waiter comes to you and says, "Could I get you any desserts? Today we have new, delicious desserts, made with tasty ingredients, as well as flavorsome sugar. Would you like to try one of these sweet and delightful desserts?" Versus, "Could I get you any desserts? Today we have new organic desserts, made with locally grown ingredients, as well as brown sugar. Would you like to try one of these fresh and wholesome desserts?" A restaurant described dessert two ways. First, emphasizing the flavor, and second, describing the sourcing of the ingredients. Study participants perceived the second dessert to be healthier. Of course, the waiter was describing the same thing, just in two different ways. This is another example of the halo effect. Of course, the opposite also affects our food choices. We call this the what the hell effect. For example, I already had a bacon cheeseburger, fries, and a milkshake, so I might as well have a beer too. So now let's get to the cutting the sugar part, while still living your life. Some people swear that cutting sugar cold turkey is the only way to go. That means just eliminating added sugar entirely. The case is that having some sugar makes the brain crave more, because sugar stimulates the reward center in the brain, similar to how it derives pleasure from opioids. So that could work for some people. It didn't work for me. I tried cutting sugar cold turkey, and I went through some pretty serious withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, tiredness. I just remember laying on the couch watching the Katy Perry documentary and just feeling nauseous and feeling sorry for myself. So that didn't work for me, but that doesn't mean it couldn't work for you. Everybody's different. If you do choose to go this slow and steady reduction route, that's what I ended up doing. I have some tips for sugar reduction. First, start by reducing intake of big ticket items. These are things like desserts, pastries, sports drinks, soda. They pack a lot of sugar, and you just eat it really fast. For example, saying no thank you to a slice of Costco sheet cake could save you from eating 29 grams of sugar. Declining a maple bar from Top Pot would save you 42 grams, and a caramel macchiato from Starbucks has 15 grams of sugar. Second, trade sugary cereal for low sugar varieties, or make other swaps like trade fruit juice for whole fruit. Next, read labels and see if there's sugar in your prepared foods. It's pretty common for pasta sauces to have added sugar, but you can always get a variety that doesn't have added sugar. Same with nut butters, like peanut butter. Some has sugar, but you can find jars that don't. And then stress less about added sugar in things like jam on toast or ketchup on French fries. There is sugar in that, but you just have a small amount, and it's really not the source of the problem. Also know that relapses are really common. A study of dieters showed that high-fat and high-sugar foods are the most common temptations. And we define relapse as consuming either excess calories, we're talking like 1,000 calories plus in a sitting, or eating foods that have been deemed forbidden. So most relapses occur between 12:30 and 8:30 p.m. when the subjects reported being moderately hungry. Those relapses generally happen 4 hours, 10 minutes after a meal, most likely when other people were present, of course when food was present. And associated activities include relaxing, working, and socializing. So it helps to have a plan to avoid binging on sugar. For example, if, say, a friend comes over with a delicious looking pecan pie and you'd really like a slice, maybe have a couple bites instead of a whole piece. You could also have a substitute. For example, if the temptation is strawberry shortcake, maybe just have the strawberries or strawberries and a little bit of cream instead of having the whole dessert. And sometimes you just need a proper meal. If you're being tempted by dessert, maybe have lunch instead. Know that some factors can help health change behaviors stick. For example, belief that an action will make a difference. So if you believe that by cutting your sugar, you'll reduce your risk of chronic disease, you're more likely to stick with it. Similarly, if you believe that you can do it, if you can reach your goals, you're far more likely to actually reach them. Also, a supportive community has been shown to help reach goals. So a few things to get you started. First, know that it's not a bad thing to crave sugar. It's very normal. Um, it's also okay to admit that you're addicted to sugar. Admitting it can help build strength and it can help you look at sugar differently. It helps to have a plan. For example, if you know that in the morning when you stop at a cafe, you're often tempted to get a sugary coffee drink and maybe something in the dessert case, so just don't go to the cafe. Make it part of your plan that you'll go to the office and have brewed coffee there instead. Setting goals can help. If you have a goal to reduce your sugar, you're more likely to do it, and you can have fun with it. So track your progress and celebrate each time you cut down. So this is a screenshot of Chronometer. It's a food tracking app, and you'll have the opportunity to download it later in the seminar. You can also use any food tracking app that you already use and like. It's very easy to use. You can just scan your food labels, or they have a pretty big database. If you just enter what you've consumed, it will track the nutrition for you. So this is going to be fun. We're going to make it a game. The first thing we'll do is get a baseline of how much sugar you're consuming on a given day. So for the first couple days, you don't have to change a thing. Just track what you're eating. And then once you have that baseline, then we'll start trying to lower it. For example, if you eat 75 grams of sugar per day, maybe we'll start by trying to cut that down to 65 and then 55 and see how low we can get. We'll all report our progress back, and we'll put up a big poster that shows how much sugar the team has eliminated together. And we can also compete against one another and see who can eliminate the most from their diet. I will make a note that here in the Chronometer app, I've zoomed in on the sugar portion. It does include natural sugar found in fruit. Like you can see, they include the apple, banana, cauliflower, white rice. That's natural sugar that we can subtract when reporting. We're just focusing on added sugar. So that would be in things like graham crackers or store-bought bread. So a few tips to get started lowering that sugar number. First, crowd out sweets. In the typical American diet, it's pretty common to actually crowd out fruits and vegetables instead because processed foods are so easy. So we're going to flip the script and prioritize getting 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. How do we do that? By prioritizing whole foods. So if you cut up fruits and veggies so they're always ready to grab as a snack, you're far more likely to eat them if it's just as easy as grabbing a granola bar or a cookie. Similarly, keep fresh fruit on the counter rather than hidden in the fridge. If it's washed and cut and ready to eat, you're far more likely to. Bring fruit or nuts as a snack for work or school. They pack really easy, and it helps decrease vending machine temptation. Start your meal with a salad, or one thing I like to do is make the salad the meal. So, for example, I'll put all the taco fixings on top of a bed of lettuce. That way I not only get a serving of vegetables, but I've also cut out the sugar in a tortilla or a wrap. Next, we'll look for low sugar alternatives. Remember, we talked about sneaky sugar finding its way into our food. Well, if we assemble it ourselves, sugar can't sneak in. So some examples, if you often eat the flavored oatmeal packets for breakfast, a lower sugar alternative would be to get oats and then maybe add your own fruit or nut butter. Those oats, plain oats, can cook in the microwave in 2 minutes. Mix it all together, it's ready in 5, it's still ready to eat. Similarly, sugary cereal, you can swap that out for plain corn flakes and add your own cinnamon or fruit or other flavors. You often have pre-gym protein bars or shakes. Consider making homemade protein bars. I'm going to share a recipe with you a little bit later on. They're really tasty and easy to make. Sugar-sweetened beverages, of course, can get swapped out with water with fruit. If fizzy water is your thing, you can get a soda stream and make that at home. Coffee with sugar is very common. Maybe try coffee with milk instead. I just warn that you're careful about what you add. Sometimes when we reduce sugar, it's easy to replace those foods with foods that are high in saturated fat, like meat, cheese, cream, or butter. So instead, just look for whole grains, legumes, nuts, vegetables, and fruit. Show those cravings who's boss. Sugar cravings really are for real. Your brain likes the sweet stuff, but you can outsmart it. Couple tips. If it's something sweet you're craving, try fruit. It's nature's candy, and you might just be surprised at how sweet fruit is when you don't have as much added sugar in your diet. Um, Strawberries, watermelon, bananas, all very sweet and tasty. Next, you can occupy your mouth or distract your brain. Helps to suck on hard candy or chew gum. Also, a glass of water can really help. Sometimes the body's just dehydrated and we mistake that for sugar cravings. Watch out for savory sweet foods. Restaurants and processed food puts an emphasis on taste rather than health. So pay attention to that. Make sure you have your dinner and not sugar. Cook at home. You're far less likely to put sugar in your dinner than a restaurant would. If a recipe calls for sugar, you can always try reducing it and see how that goes. Try a salad with a drizzle of olive oil and vinegar rather than bottled dressing. Those can be quite sweet. And then have what you really want. If you just can't imagine life without a margarita or tiramisu, go ahead and have some. But you can do it sparingly. Maybe share your tiramisu with somebody else, or don't have other sweets that day if you're saving up for what you really want. For me, I think it helps not to have sugar that I don't really, really want. So if it's not, if cookies are present and I don't really, really want the cookie, it's easier for me to say, no, thank you, I'm going to save up for tiramisu this weekend. So in recap, try to keep your sugar below 25 grams per day. Any more really is dangerous to your health. And if you can keep it below 20, that would even be better. Cut out the big contributors of sugar first. This means sugar sweetened beverages and big desserts. Remember, fruit juice doesn't get a free pass. Know that temptations and sugar cravings are real and have a plan in mind for how to deal with them. Also, social support and self-determination really will help. Make sure to tell your loved ones what you're doing and ask for their support. It can make a big difference. And know that you can do it because you can. That's what I have for you today. I really appreciate you listening. And can I answer any questions?